Hi everybody. It's your friend Dan. We're back again for another round. We're back again for another round here on a video for you. Now again, last night I actually posted a video over on one of my channels about how I talked about how PlayStation and Xbox store is now having big sales on the Spider-Man game, and it's like really cool. But I have some other announcements that I gotta tell you too. Well, also, I do have to tell you that there is some breaking news that I did want to kind of talk about. That's from our friend Comic Book. Now, from our friend Comic Book, or comicbook.com effectively, we have announcement word that we are finally actually going to be getting the NES and SNES games coming back the GameStop nationwide. And this is huge because considering how popular the NES and the SNES was, having those games come back to GameStops across the country actually is really big because, like I said, if you're like me and you grew up in like the 90s and stuff, you remember like everything kind of came on a CD disc, or even like or before that we had what we call a cartridge. Okay, before the invention of the CD or before the invention of the disc, we had what's called a cassette or what's called a tape. Or we had a cartridge, or as they call it. So they're going to be bringing back cartridges of actual games from the NES and the SNES, otherwise dubbed as the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. I think that's a really large move by them because right now GameStop has been really not been doing so good. According to the stock market on Wall Street Journal, they're saying GameStop hasn't been doing so well. Because legend has it, it's probably because people don't have really many options for as long as like to go for video games. Because it's like, oh, now we remember like, oh yeah, when the next generation consoles come out, it's like, oh yeah, we try to phase all the other consoles out. But like, just like when they did with PlayStation, they phased it to PlayStation 2. Just like with PlayStation 2, they phased it to PlayStation 3. And like for PlayStation 3, they phased it to PlayStation 4. And now for PlayStation 5, phasing out of PlayStation 4. Same thing with Xbox and same thing with Nintendo, their rivals. But to save you all that some time, I'm actually really interested to see how they're going to do this. Because business-wise, GameStop is not doing too well, according to Wall Street Journal. And according to Forbes Finance. They're always saying the stock market of GameStop is not doing so well. And they have dropped in the last quarter. So because they dropped in the last quarter of sales, they figure, oh, one way to bring back revenue or bring back the stock back up is by bringing back cartridges. As we say, cassettes, tapes, cartridges, whatever you might call them, for the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, and the SNES, the Super Nintendo System. So then, it's like, oh yeah. Now, most of the time, you have to go way off out of your way, off in some small town somewhere to go find them. But now, I'm really curious about how they're going to do that, because it's like, oh yeah. Now, we remember, like, back in the 90s, or back in the early 2000s, you remember how Toys R Us and that also had video games too, just like as Walmart and just like Target and all your other game company stores. But again, I think it's really interesting finding that out. Actually, this morning I found out that because due to recent backlash and because of stock market being not so well for GameStop recently in the last quarter, they figure, oh, for a big surprise for the holiday, according to a friend at Comic Book, they say they're bringing back the NES and the SNES, the GameStop, to see if people would go. I think it's a smart idea because, one, I've never had one of those systems before, and two, it brings back a little bit of nostalgic, which is something that is lacking right now. We don't really have nostalgic. Stop, puppy. But anyway, I'm walking puppy right now and he's jumping on me as I'm trying to record my YouTube videos. And that's the one thing that kind of ticks me off sometimes, because sometimes when I'm out too long, sometimes puppy lets me know that I'm walking out too long with him and he wants to go inside. But like I said, he's already did his business. He already peed outside already 3 times already. So I'm going to cut this off right here and then let you guys know that if you haven't followed this channel, go follow the channel. And I'll see you guys for some more stuff later. I'll see you later.